Hey guys, this is Issues with Tiny One Skip. I am your nut. How you doing? It's Saturday, not in the park, guys. March 22nd, 2025. How you doing? Anybody looking at an electric toothbrush the same way as they did, a couple days ago? How many people threw away their electric toothbrushes? How many people think that the stock of electric toothbrushes is going to go way down and never in my lifetime will it rise above again, as long as we have the memory of what Gypsy Rose has done with her electric toothbrush? Your daughter's going to know what you did with that toothbrush, woman. Let me tell you something. Nobody's going to let that kid in the house now, or you for that matter. Not only will they be hiding the knives, they're going to be hiding the electric toothbrushes too. How shameful is that? And then you tried to blame all this poor behavior, bad behavior, perverse behavior on Nicholas. Gypsy. Where'd this shit come from with you? We know what's going on. Why would we think, now that guys, you remember that stupid book she supposedly wrote, which she didn't write, about the barbecue sauce and what Nick supposedly had her do? Yeah, it was all Gypsy's perverse mind. Nick gets absolutely no credit for that imagination. He only gets credit for following her lead, because that's all he's capable of doing. No offense to Nick, but thank God, right? Because Gypsy's perverse ways and her saying at some point that it was Nick that was going to sacrifice their daughter when it was her the whole time. You have a daughter. Ken, you have a daughter with this woman supposedly, right? Raina, Christy, right? Bullshit. Come on, everybody's happy with Gypsy. Everybody's happy with Gypsy. These FOIAs are coming out. Man, Gypsy, your daughter is going to have so much to deal with. You think that they're just going to tease her about the unaliving of her grandmother? Wait till they start bringing in electric toothbrushes to school. Do you realize how messed up that is? And the fact that you tried to blame all of this on Nick just a few days ago. How much all of this was Nick, only to have these FOIAs come out that show that not only are you a liar, pants on fire, but you're a deviant. You're despicable. You're diabolical. You're born evil. Rod, you know this about your daughter. She sent awful pictures to you. Now it's got to click that they were actually from her, because you have to see and hear how perverse she is and what she's done. Where did this behavior come from, and where has it gone? Because it's gone somewhere. This perverse behavior that was never dealt with because she never went to therapy, where'd it go? Where'd it go? There's something that Gypsy has yet to figure out that is so dark and dirty within her. The only diabolical one was Gypsy. She had led all of this bullshit came out first. She tried to say it was Dee Dee that was the perpetrator in all of this medical stuff, only to find out that Gypsy had a lot to do with her lies of her medical treatment. Because, guys, come on. If all of this stuff really happened, where's the lawsuit? Where's the lawsuit for all this medical abuse? Come on. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it's not there. Why isn't it there? Because it didn't happen. Rod, Christy, you guys helped with an alibi, and you sleep well at night? You have a grandchild that she supposedly has custody of? I don't think so. I don't think she spends an awful lot of time with that kid because she's clumsy about it. She's detached from it. I don't think that she has any feelings towards anybody. Not even Ken. She doesn't have feelings like you and I, the normal average bear, actually has. Not at all. She's going to hold her head up high and be proud. And those mindless minions of hers are going to be proud too of what she did with that toothbrush and how she manipulated Nick. So, in other words, Damona was going to punish Nick by taking Gypsy away from him, because Damona was going to take over. So the wonderful person that he thought Gypsy was, Damona was keeping that wonderful person from Nick. And in Nick's mind, he was buying it. He was buying it. That's the worst he did, was believe her. And then it led to something more criminal. But can't you see the seed that she placed in his head and kept watering and nurturing, and it kept, even though for 2 years he's like, just run away with me, just run away with me. No. The only way, and all he ever wanted at this point, with all the game playing, was Gypsy. That was all he wanted at the end. He wanted to save Gypsy. Damona was bothering Gypsy, her alter ego. Dee Dee was bothering Gypsy until he found out later that Dee Dee was actually a pretty good mom, and then he felt incredible guilt. Guys, that same night, after unaliving her mother, she was going to just make plans and see Dan. What about Nick? Wait, Nick, I know you just did this horrible thing for me because I don't think Nick was supposed to leave the house that night, just like I said. Guys, these FOIAs are so damaging that the person that we thought Gypsy was is like 100 times worse than who she actually is. She's despicable. She has lied over and over again and perjured herself. The courts, they failed Nicholas. They failed him by not making sure that he had a fair trial. But they catered to that diabolical piece of shit that she calls Nick. Yet all of Nick's alters came from Gypsy. The whole blueprint of everything came from Gypsy. And she has the nerve to blame Nick. She's out here running around, living her best life, while everybody's hiding electric toothbrushes and KNIVES from her. And your daughter, Ken, and your granddaughter, guys, gets to hear about this. Gypsy wants her to hear about this when she's, 13? The same age that she was going to sacrifice her child to Nick. That was her idea, too. Wasn't Nick's, was her idea. In her book, she said it was Nick's idea. But long before the book, the proof said it was hers. Yep. So every little diabolical, crappy thing that we think Nick did was programmed by Gypsy. So we could just blame her for it. Just like Gypsy wanted to blame her mom, which was all fake. But this thing with Nick wasn't. She did. She manipulated him. She used coercive control over Nick. And Nick's doing life. And Gypsy's out here, still broken, ready to destroy and continue to destroy. Gypsy the Destroyer with her mindless minions. Guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. What are you thinking? Come on. Can you believe this? Let's listen to some of the high points of the FOIA that Becca Scoops brought out. And if you really want to hear these FOIAs, Ivory Rose and Nina, the beauty influencer, are doing them on TikTok, and then Nina's taking them and putting them up on YouTube. So if you want to hear them word for word, perfect. Or they're in discords of people if you want to read it yourself. They're pretty, I've seen them. I mean, like I have them as well. The stack of them is crazy. There are thousands of papers, and there's another FOIA, right? There's another pack that hasn't even been gotten into yet, from my understanding. What's there? I heard that one was about Nick. Poor Nick, the only one that seemed to actually be ABUSED just by negligence, apparently. Yeah, Gypsy knew what she was looking for. Nick was right there. He was just there for the picking. And this woman's out running the street. People think she's healthy and safe. Yeah, I can't wait to see how many friends Aurora is allowed to associate with. How many young kids are going to be allowed to associate with her? How many people are going to be going to Gypsy's house? How many people Gypsy's going to be allowed to go into their house? Again, And then when she leaves, the toothbrush has got to go into the toilet, into the garbage. You cannot let her into a bathroom with an electric toothbrush at all. Guys, manual brushing from now on. Take care of yourselves. Be better today than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Try to be kind, guys. Thanks.
There is no evidence that Nick was the one pushing for the murder. In fact, he tried to talk Gypsy out of it.
At that point, there was no time going back because from the first step I walked into the house, I knew there was no coming back. As ironic as I was trying to influence her to go with, but she never went with it. She never wanted to run away.
However, Gypsy has made wild accusations that this was Nick's fantasy.
He wanted to get me out of that situation, but then a bigger part of me thinks that I could have been anyone, because murder was something that he always wanted to do as a fantasy, and I think that I was perfect opportunity.
Another 10-minute video titled My Baby Gypsy and Mistress Damona's Random Video was admitted into evidence as 26H. In the video, she appears as wearing a long red wig in lingerie. She tells Nicholas that things have changed. Quote, she is his dominant and he is her slave. She, his alter ego named Damona, will take away Nicholas's Gypsy. She, his alter ego named Damona, will take away Nicholas's Gypsy. Will take away Nicholas's Gypsy.